Now, we're going to move on to our next segment of the program, which is our consumer goods panel. Leading our panel discussion today is Ms. Brooke Sims, who leads Wells Fargo's North and West Texas commercial business development facilities. Brooke, if you want to make your way on stage. And joining Brooke on stage are our panelists, Nikhila Davis, who's the owner of Colossi Cellars, Ms. Donna Letier, the CEO and co-founder of Gardenuity, Ms. Asha Kangralkar, who's the CEO of AvaCraft, and Ms. Karika Purohit Patel, who's the Chief of Staff for Nature Rich. And as you all will see, you should have some notepads and pen and paper on your table. We'll try to get to Q&A. I know we're running a little tight, so I don't know if we'll be able to do it. But with that said, thank you again, Brooke, and all of our panelists for being here today, supporting the Women's Conference, and we look forward to y'all's conversation.
Fantastic. Good morning. So excited to be here today. As Kamal mentioned, Kamal, by the way, if nobody claims Massage Envy, pick me any day, anytime. So as Kamal mentioned, my name is Brooke Sims. Today is really, truly an honor. This is my first conference with the U.S. India Chamber, and I am just so delighted to see a room packed full of dynamic and inspiring women. I didn't know what to expect, but I have seen some familiar faces and friends and made some new ones. And I get to interview and talk to these distinguished women. So hopefully you've done a little homework. If you haven't, they're going to give you their story. But these women are absolutely incredible. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you to the Chamber for this opportunity and for trusting me and trusting us. Kamal mentioned a little as well, and I'll give you a little background. So I'm with Wells Fargo. I help lead our business development or new client acquisition. I like to think of it as building relationships in the community and finding a way to win your heart over and welcome you to our family. So we really enjoy and love the opportunity to support and invest in women, especially women in business, for a number of different reasons and in a number of different ways. We love to help provide access to capital. We love to help be your strategic advisor. And we love to be able to offer you the vast network we built to help move forward the opportunities within your business. So we're inspired. We believe in investing in women. And here's really why that is. Because you guys probably already know this, but when women succeed, so many amazing things happen. Businesses flourish, communities grow, industries transform, and people's lives are deeply impacted. And you will see that and you will hear that in these stories. I hope we get to Q&A because I've already got a lot of questions before we even started. So with that, I'm going to just name and business and let you tell your story, okay? So, forgive me, I wish I could have memorized all 7 of these pages of questions. But nonetheless, here we go. So a couple things I've learned in business, especially in banking, is entrepreneurs have this unique and special gift. And so do business professionals, but really that gift is the push. It's the problem solving, it's the hurdling fear, even when you don't know what's on the other side of that. And so I can't wait to hear more about how you've done those things and really leave here feeling inspired. So I hope you feel that as well. Just a way to help us all take our ambitions to new heights. So these are our women who soar, and who soar in the consumer goods industry. If you're not familiar, this is a direct-to-consumer space, and it's a really unique industry, huge industry. So if you're in it, or you're growing in it, there's opportunity. It's expected that the consumer goods industry is going to be about $15.5 trillion by 2027. So get in if you're not here. And there's some unique trends, sustainability, consumer behavior, and as you'd imagine, digital transformation and AI that are really on the forefront of this space. So let me start and give everybody's name and business, and love to hear your story. So Nikhila Davis with Colossi Cellars, Donna Letier with Gardenuity, Asha Kanglakar with AvaCraft, and Karika Patel with Nature Rich Labs. And so we'd love to start here and go down. And if you would tell us about your story. How did you get to where you are today? Why consumer goods? What's unique about the space? And then talk to us about defining moments that have helped shape who you are and what your business is doing.
So welcome. Hello, I'm Nikhila Davis, as Brooke said, and thank you so much for having us today. I'm very honored to be a part of this chamber conference. As Brooke mentioned, Colossi Cellars is what I do now. It is a winery located in Fredericksburg, Texas. But my journey actually started back in 2013 when I bought some raw land and planted some grapes. So I've been at this for a while. I planted grapes and then realized I really don't know a whole lot about what I'm doing, but there was space for me, and it was really unique. It's in West Texas. I manage 160 acres out there, which of 140 are planted under vine. They are completely producing. I wanted to start off in farming because that is kind of what my family did back in India for 5 generations before my parents immigrated to the U.S. Skipped that generation to give me the opportunity to do something that I would want to do later in life, which was really important, and I think it's really shaped who I am today. I realized once I planted grapes, like I mentioned, yes, I had a farming background a little bit. I lived in India on my grandparents' farm, and that's about it, and I enjoyed watching the harvest come about. But I knew if I really wanted to know more, I had to get fully in. So I cold emailed wineries out in California, and I think at that time they had no idea about my age and that I had no experience. So I got very lucky and ended up at Cake Bread Cellars, one of the biggest wineries up in Napa Valley, under a female winemaker who took me under her wing and really taught me how to grow quality grapes as well as make wine. And that's what I brought back to Texas, because I saw a space that didn't have high quality wine being made, let alone by a female. I met my husband now, a month after moving back, and he kept telling me, well, why are you not making wine? You did all this. I said, well, I actually just wanted to be a farmer, I realized, and just sell grapes to other wineries. And he kept telling me how he wanted to start this business. He was working at Price Waterhouse, moved up the corporate ladder really well, and was very successful. I kept telling him, well, I don't know how to write a business plan, but you do. So if you help me write this business plan, I will make this happen. And that's kind of how this all got going and got started. And so in 2017 was my first vintage for Texas wine. And in 2020, August 15th, which is India's Independence Day, is the day that we got our license to open up and sell alcohol in Texas.
Well, I'm excited to follow you because if everybody's now inspired to be a farmer, let's talk. So I am the CEO and co-founder of a company called Gardenuity, which means ingenuity in the garden. And we ship gardens and gardening experiences across the country. And gardening is now really thought of as a wellness play. So we talk about how good it is to get a little dirty. We make it fun. We've certainly incorporated AI to make everybody successful. But as exciting as AI is, there's nothing like getting your hands in the soil and reaping the benefits of something you've planted. We are democratizing gardening and making it accessible to everyone. And I like to say my journey started, I am not a master gardener. I love consumer goods, and I love taking products and making them better and fit the way we live today. And I think the gardening industry was a little slow, and they weren't thinking about how to make every single attempt at gardening successful, and looking at that people live in high rises, they have balconies, they don't have, all weekend to till up a yard. So we have democratized the experience, made it accessible, and so whether you're in a high rise in Boston, or you have a sprawling yard in Plano, or you're in a wheelchair in Dallas, Texas, you can reap the benefits of gardening.
Hi everyone, I'm CEO of Evercraft. My journey started to Evercraft with frustration with the quality of the cookware or the customer service or the design of the cookware. I always loved cooking. Every time I emailed my questions about the cookware to the manufacturers, I always heard a standard answer, pretty much standard answer. So that made me, one day I told Vivek, let's design and manufacture our own cookware. And that was happening on Friday evening over wine. So he said, okay, let's do it, and then we'll talk tomorrow morning. So then again tomorrow morning I asked the same question. I said, okay, you were sane when you asked that question last evening. So that's when Evercraft was born in 2015. The day we started, the day Evercraft was started, our first thing was that how can we amaze the customer? That's our main. We were within 5 minutes, we were like to answer any customer questions. That was our target time. So we did that for last 5 years. So that dedication built trust in customer, and then AvaCraft customer base grew organically. So pinch me moment was when everyone must have been heard of famous Hollywood actress Jessica Alba. She endorsed AvaCraft brand in 2019, and Forbes made a story on AvaCraft and named AvaCraft in next 1,000 list. So that all told us that okay, we are doing something right. Yeah, it's been amazing. It's been 10 years that I'm running this brand. So.
Hi, everyone. My name is Garika Patel, and I am the Chief of Staff of Nature Rich Labs. We are a custom and dynamic contract manufacturer of personal care products. So in our world of personal care products, we do a whole gamut of beauty products, ranging from deodorants, shampoos, conditioners, lotions, lip balms, and everything else in between. I am a very proud generational entrepreneur, and what I mean by that is I was raised around very successful, hardworking, also immigrant Indian parents that have hustled their entire life. My dad actually has a steep, deep history in the beauty industry, and I'm proud to say I grew up actually in the beauty industry. My dad was actually one of the co-creators of Aveda. He's a formulator, so he formulated the first 600 products for them, has 4 patents to his name. And so when our family left Minneapolis to come to Dallas, both my parents started Nature Rich Labs exactly 25 years ago, actually last week, which is pretty cool. And with the vision and a hope of creating natural, sustainable beauty products for some of the largest, best brands out there. So what we do today is contract manufacturing. So we formulate and manufacture for some of the largest brands in the world. I wish I could tell you who, but we're under NDA. But it's really, really, really exciting to now be following and trying to build upon the legacy that my parents have built, which is taking Nature Rich to the next stage. I'll share more a little bit in my story about sort of what's coming there, but you know, I'm extremely grateful for the access and experience I've had through my family's experiences. But you know, what's been really fun for me is trying to build my own journey to get to where I am today and beyond. So I actually started at Nature Rich as a very junior level project manager because I wanted to start from the ground up and work my way up. So I did that for a couple of years. I then pivoted very hard left Dallas, moved to Atlanta to do corporate strategy and mergers and acquisitions. I am a biology major from UT Austin, Hook'em Horns. Had no business being in the world of business, but I was determined, had a will, and had a mentor that believed in me and gave me a tremendous amount of support and training to get into the world of corporate finance and M&A work, which was amazing. I then got my MBA back at Austin, Hook'em Horns again. And then I joined Target, and I was a buyer for Target, and then led Target's Beauty Accelerator program, bringing back together my deep-rooted history and kind of childhood in the beauty industry with my career. And got pregnant with twins and wanted to be back with family, and perfect time to join the family business again. So I moved back to Dallas, and I'm now leading kind of the next wave of Nature Rich Labs. So I'm really honored to be here. This is an amazing, amazing organization and an amazing group of women, and excited to share more.
Well, thank you. Also a bio major over here. Did really nothing with it.
Absolutely nothing with it. Yep.
But I love what we do now. So since we're on consumer goods, let's talk a little bit about the products, right? And when you think about them, how do you think about meeting consumer needs, possibly addressing trends, and then creating an engaging experience for the end user? And I'm going to leave it open. Maybe if a couple of you want to answer that question, that'd be great. So anybody's welcome to kick that off.
So I'm on the wine side. So when I look at this, I look at experience. People are on vacation, they're on a date, they want to celebrate something. I want them to have a good time. And the alcohol industry is actually at an all-time low right now with all the news that is coming out about alcohol and wellness. But the one thing, wine has lived through the testament of time for decades, generations, and that's what we have really going for us. So with that said, we are figuring out ways to engage age groups that are just now getting introduced wine, as well as baby boomers who say they have too much wine. They may have too much wine, but they can still come have an experience with us. So I do winemakers tastings as well as private tours, and on the farming side, it's really helped because we've created a niche for us. We're one of about 4 people in the state that go from grape to bottle, and everything happens in-house, and it's completely owned by us, which is very unique. But it's creating those experiences and making sure people leave happy and learning something. You may not know, we get a lot of people that are very intimidated coming into our tasting room who are on a girls trip or on a date, like I mentioned, and they're new to wine. No idea, but they realize we're second in traffic to Napa Valley, so that's why they picked the Texas Hill Country. And they come to us and they say, I have no idea even what to do. And we take them through the experience, through the tasting process, and really make them ask the questions of what they're tasting and what they would pair it with, because that's part of the experience. People want to talk about what they're experiencing while we pour wine, and that's really unique for us.
One thing I'll also add is, in my world, we are technically B2B, so my client are the beauty brands who then ultimately sell that product out into the market. But it has been ever so important for our business to be able to support our clients through the lens of consumer insights. I use ChatGPT and AI on a regular basis. It is insane the amount of wealth and knowledge that I'm able to just grab at the fingertips, because the beauty industry is evolving daily, regularly. Our business has been lucky because we were sort of the leaders in natural and organic, but that's table stakes now. Everyone in the beauty industry is sort of doing natural and organic, so what's next? And so there's a tremendous amount of insight that we're gaining through, obviously, online channels, but it's also talking to consumers. We do a lot of consumer panels, we do a lot of product testing in-house, and our brands are some of the most incredible sources of research and insight. So we take that and plug that into our innovation pipeline, and we are able to formulate. We have close to about 5,000 formulas in our library and growing. So we're very proud of that, and that's really due in part to the constant evolution that is the industry.
We too hear a lot of feedbacks from customers, what kind of cookware they want. So I am working with my daughter to develop a AI engine. It's still a startup based with their inputs and my input, what kind of material goes, what kind of design, everything, just to build an AI engine to design pots and pans and what kind of that. It's still early age, but.
That's fantastic. Thank you. You know what? When we were going through the process and I was researching your company, I was like, I want to be good enough at cooking and inspired enough to create my own cookware. I just thought that was so unique. So I am excited to try everything that's related to your companies. I have experience with Gardenuity just in the market. But let me say this, hate to say this, time has gotten the best of us. So we've got lots of questions that we were going to go through. We're going to cut that a little short. So we're going to go basically to the end. So we can just start talking about, what do you see next for your business? What does the next 5 years look like? And how can all of the audience members take part in that? How can we help your businesses grow? Please, go ahead.
You know what? I think something that's ever present is the idea of self-care, and self-care not being selfish. And we talk about gardening experiences giving you that moment to you. Yes, you're harvesting fresh herbs. Yes, you're harvesting fresh vegetables or just misting a desktop garden. But this idea of women having to be perfect has got to stop. And it's going to stop with people like us saying, okay, I'm going to take 5 minutes for me. And I love the theme here because it's about soaring. But to soar, for a rocket to soar, for an airplane to soar, what does it need? It needs gas. We cannot do this on empty. So my hope for Gardenuity is that I see a small garden or a desktop garden on every desk and every patio, because it means somebody's taking a moment to be mindful and to put their own self-care on their list. When you care for you, it gives others around you cultural permission to do the same. And when you have your hands in the soil, even if it's just for 5 minutes, you're not on the phone. You're actually present. And that is a ticket to self-care. So my hope is that everybody gets to experience the wellness benefits that come from gardening.
We want to increase the product line. We want to get into a retail space like Costco and Target. We have been in talk with them. We'll see how that goes. That should be a growth for Evercraft.
Amazing. I touched on this earlier, but I'm in a very unique and privileged spot where I get to imagine and help Nature Rich Labs into its next phase of its future, which includes succession planning. It's a unique and sometimes murky situation when you're talking to my father, who is the president. My brother's also involved in the business. My mother's also involved. For us to sit at the table and say, all right, guys, what's next? Dad, Mom, what do you envision for the future of this business as you guys are looking to kind of retire and move on with the next stage of your life? Look to my brother and say, all right, brother, what do we see for us? Well, how do we see us carrying on this legacy? And we're exploring all options from staying on to the business to potentially exiting and fully. And so we are literally just starting those conversations and starting that effort literally now. So it's a really exciting time for the business on a personal stand, but also from a professional business side, there's a lot of growth happening at the business. It's a fun and crazy and wild time. We're building our own state-of-the-art facility in Richardson, Texas. It's going to be 140,000 square feet of beautiful contract manufacturing and warehouse space that we're extremely proud of. And I'm especially proud for my parents, for that is like the penultimate American dream, to own a big fat piece of land and to build something from the ground up that you've raised and grown. So I'm just excited to be able to shepherd Nature Rich into its next phase of growth and scale, and privileged and honored to be able to do that.
I touched on this a little bit earlier about experiences. So our next phase is actually going more into corporate events as well as private events at clients' homes, where we come in and do tastings and put together an event for you. And then probably 5 to 10 years, there's a lot of maturity happening in the industry, but a lot of wealth from outside of Texas coming into the Texas Hill Country. There's wineries that are buying up land in the Hill Country to open up their own brands in Texas. So it's keeping our brand strong and keep driving on that quality that we've started with and technology-driven growing as well as winemaking. And that's our next phase.
Well, that's absolutely fantastic. I hate that we didn't get a chance to get through all of the questions or the Q&A, because we were looking forward to that. But everyone here will be here within the time allotted for their schedules. So if you want to ask some questions, I'm volunteering you, obviously. Please come up, ask the questions. There were some great things that were shared prior to the event, and just some key insights about consumer goods or the businesses for each of you. So I'd welcome you guys to all engage with these entrepreneurs here. Thank you again. Thank you to the India Chamber. And on behalf of the team at Wells Fargo, we've got a couple team members in here. Thank you for being here. We're happy to help serve you and help you to help provide the relationships and resources that you need.